And just a
All right.
reminder, this is the Q&A Zoom webinar, so please put your questions in that Q&A box, not the chat. I'll be taking a look there. And just to preface, Allison has a ton of awesome examples. We are going to make sure that you guys have the links to all of these at the very end of the webinar too. So you'll get an actual link that you can go take another look at later on.
Yeah, you don't need to sit there and screenshot everything or have to take pictures because you're going to see some stuff that you're going to be like, "Ooh, that's a good idea." That's the fun part of it. So our team for our webinar today, I'm going to be your primary presenter here. Many of you know I'm a former United Way director, and since we are gearing this towards campaign season, I kind of dug in and just decided to take this over. Jordan, of course, is helping me as she always does, but I decided I was going to really jump in and lead on this one. We also have Chrissy and Christina moderating, and you know, they both work for United Ways as well. So we got a pretty rich United Way history. Brian's in the screen here for a little while. I know he has to take off. We're getting ready to be a vendor at the Meals on Wheels National Conference this week, so he's heading out. But thanks for joining us. He's part of our sales team, and just always that friendly reminder, if you know a nonprofit who could really use a One Each website, please let us know. Brian's going to work with them. He's great, and we love referrals. So just a friendly reminder on that. The Q&A is where you're going to put questions and comments. So use that, and let's start with a poll. I always love starting with a poll. So I'm going to talk about more than pledge cards during this, but just out of curiosity, do you use a One Each pledge card? Are you using an online pledge card through another vendor, or you don't use online pledge cards at all? So just curious for those of you on the call, if you would click your screen and let us know what you're doing. There's no wrong answer. It's more of a guide for us as we're doing this webinar to have an idea of what you guys are doing. So most of you have answered. There's a few more of you out there. If you want to just check your screen real quick and answer that question. I love getting this feedback. It's kind of neat. It's very interesting, actually. All right. Last chance. Ready to go? Here we go. We'll share that. All right. So, pretty cool that we got 41% of you who are already using our pledge cards. You're probably some of the pages I'm pulling up. New tips and tricks, so you're gonna love that. Some of you use a third-party tool. That's fine, because it's all about how you build the page and you link out to that tool. I get it, and a lot of times the third-party tool actually works with your database software. You don't have to get that data into there. So that makes sense. No problems. We just want to make sure you have it all streamlining for you. And then the 41% who aren't doing online pledge cards, hopefully you're here thinking maybe we should do that, because it is 2023 and technology is our friend. And you know, we still have those employers that are like, no, I want the paper, and or it's not the right environment for online. A lot of our organizations will do dual options where you have the paper and you have the online, and you do whatever works best for you. But certainly the online piece has been growing, especially since COVID, right? All right, so here's just, I don't have a lot of PowerPoint stuff going on. I'm mostly going to be sharing my screen with samples, but here are the kind of things I'm going to give you samples on and things to think about. As you work on your website for campaign, do you have a page that's /campaign? Simple URL. If not campaign, something that makes sense. So after your website domain /campaign, I really want to encourage you guys to avoid putting years like campaign 2023 campaign. The reason that I say avoid that is because you're going to lose your SEO or people bookmarking it. You have to change it every year. You really want your URL associated with all of these primary things that you're doing, not to be very easy and simple for people to get back to. Now, at the top of the page, you can say 2023 campaign, like in the title or whatever. Just watch your URL, okay? Style out your pages. Good pictures. So we've been harping on this for a while. If you've been in our webinars, try to avoid the pictures that have words on it. Go for a nice image, and then let any word spaces talk for you. Header images on your pages always look good. And then if you use, like, if you have links to different things, whether it's a hyperlink or it's a link button, if you're not using the buttons really look nice. I'll show some samples. We'll put a button on a page. But if you have a button or if you have a hyperlink like to the PDF of the annual report or to a PDF of a pledge card or our brochure, do make sure that that's set to open in a new window and people don't leave your site. So just friendly reminders on those. We're going to look at a lot of campaign toolkit pages, lots of campaign toolkits. I will say that 90% of you guys have a page called /campaign-toolkit. Saw a lot of them, and I will show a lot of them to you. There's what's great about our system is just because you could do accordions or you can do columns or you can do tabs or whatever. You're all doing them differently. Everyone's creative. Good samples. We'll show them in just a second. Campaign kickoff. A lot of you are doing your online registrations right now for kickoff events, for any events, golf tournaments, day of carrying, just a kickoff celebration. Some have payment, some don't have payment, using our online registration form. So let's look at those. Rotors. So funny thing is, I don't always see a rotor regarding campaign or a kickoff. Just remember that if you do have a good visual, that rotor on the front of your website is the quickest place that people see stuff. So I always think it is a good idea to have a rotor for like an event or your campaign or your kickoff, but to schedule it. Use the scheduling tool and remember to schedule it to come up and down. We'll talk a lot about online pledge cards in a minute here. Personalized employer pages. I have a page on my demo site that's / like ABC employer, so it's / ABC, keeping them nice, easy URLs that they have year after year. And then a new thing, and we're going to offer this to you for free, is a campaign planning form. I've had a few of you guys who've created like online ordering materials, order brochures and table tents and thermometers and different stuff for campaigns. So if you haven't done that, maybe something to think about, or even for more of like a CEO visit kind of thing, like, do you want to do an online campaign? You know, how many pay periods do you have in a year, et cetera, et cetera. So it could be customized out to do whatever you need to do, but it is a nice way to capture some of that information. Secured page for campaign coordinators. I've only had a few that have actually done something like this. It just depends on your environment, your workplace. But if you have a big campaign coordinator group and you want them to have their own private portal with access to numbers and different information and forms, if they submit their forms, they could always submit their forms online, like their campaign report forms and that sort of thing. So just some thoughts to think about. But let's go look. Let's just go troll these sites that I've been having fun looking at. All right. Before I get started, Jordan, we got questions, anything out there?
Not too many. Just a reminder to everybody out there. Yes, after you'll get the recording, you'll get the slide deck, you'll get all of these links that we're about to be showing you. So don't worry. We'll make sure we send all of that to you after this webinar.
Okay, great. Thank you. So in no particular order, shall I say, these are just kind of coming up as I was finding things. Again, you don't need to screenshot this. You don't need to write these URLs down. We're going to send them to you. I'd like you just to be able to enjoy what I'm presenting. But using a nice, easy / campaign-center, that's their go-to page. This is a nice touch. I do like, especially certain themes where the menu is in white like this, putting a color overlay over the image. I like it. I think it looks good. So this is their particular page. This is a common feature that we see for campaign, which is the accordions and putting different features inside the accordions. So you'll see here, this is like 2 equal columns. They have a hyperlink to the form. The picture's also hyperlinked to the form, an impact sheet, whatever materials you might have if you'd like to make this downloadable for folks to see. I do like this version of it where there's also the picture because you know how visual we are. So they've got a JPEG of the image of the items as well as just the name that folks can click. Your videos hyperlinked out to different videos. Again, they're using these imagery to help you find different items. It's very nice. It's very well organized, put together. Okay, well, that's pretty. Let's go to my next sample. This page, it's a campaign toolkit, and I love this top image here with people with the it's like the cover sheet from their campaign and all their stuff. And you know, your employers love seeing that stuff too. Here's a nice use of buttons. They have several links here. A link to run a campaign, get campaign help, find your campaign. I'll click on one of those in a second. Your campaign toolkit. And then again, accordions is a very popular option. Sometimes they have pictures, sometimes folks don't have pictures. They'll have just links. But it is a nice way to organize it without ending up with this like just crazy long list of different items. Digital content, here's links to stories, etc. But let me go back up to the top here, the way they laid out their campaign toolkit page. So, you know, if you can get it all into one page, great. But if you're like, I kind of really need to divide this out, sure, whatever makes sense to you. When I click run a campaign, it's going to open another page called run a campaign. And guess what? They replaced the button that said run a campaign to go back to the campaign toolkit page. So they're kind of keeping this same look and feel going. And that has some different details more for the employee campaign coordinator guide. They got some FAQs. You have a packet. Now what do I do? So really nicely laid out. And again, we're going to send you these links and you can check these guys out. So as you click each one, it moves you around. So here's your campaign help. There's their main coordinators on their campaign activity, pictures, information, what they can help with, what they can do. And then the last link in here is for them to find their campaign. And they have a drop-down list of employers. This is actually a web form that continues to take them on to their campaign pages. So very clever. And they're still building it out. So I'm not going to keep clicking onto theirs, but just a nice sample. Let's go to my next one. Let's see here. All right. I thought this was a very clever header because no matter what my screen size, I'm going to see Live United. So even though I'm always like, don't put words on pictures, if you do something like this that's wallpapered across, it works. It looks good. It gets the message across. Very United Way-esque. Got even a little that texture. What's that called? Like when they have it. I'm trying to think of the word. So here's just another campaign toolkit page. You've got brochures, English, Spanish, a giving guide, so pictures with links out. And then they went and put their accordions in one box on the side with just the hyperlinks to the different items. So again, just some clever folks out there. You guys are very creative. Campaign toolkit. I always love the tools for the toolkit. Like here's a picture of tools because we're giving you tools, right? Here's another approach. Another approach is to organize it using tabs. So they have tabs for the different items, and within the tabs, a lot of the tabs might have accordions within the tabs, depending on what all it is. But tabs is another approach to how to design out the page. Okay. And Jordan, stop me at any time. Mostly, I think everyone's just probably watching it going, okay, these are cool. Another campaign toolkit. And again, so I like this broken with the groups because it does become a lot of accordions after a while. So like, here's our digital assets, here's our print assets. That's a nice differentiation with the different ones. This is best used for this. This is best used for that. So just some thoughts on how they do it.
Yeah.
Download the desktop device. Yeah, go ahead.
Allison, I just want to point out one thing because this theme caught my eye. You'll notice the accordion title color on this one, they're orange instead of blue is what I think the normal default is. And I just want to point out, we can absolutely change that color for you. That's a site-wide default. So if you like that orange color or you want to keep kind of that lighter blue color, let us know because those are things that we can change as you're planning out your site. It just caught my eye, so I wanted to mention it.
Yes, for sure. But it will all be the same color. So whatever you want your accordion
Yeah.
color to be, it's not different per accordion, but we can set that. And that's all back to your style guide, to your headings and your different things. That if you want your defaults changed, let us know. And this is a component heading. So when they added accordions, they gave a component title there, so that pops up on the top. So again, just some ways to do this. I get this question asked every campaign season quite a bit, like trying to put together my campaign toolkit. And it's neat to see how you guys have all started using the components, and it's not that laundry list that we used to see on everyone's page with all those sections. All right, here's another one. Again, with the accordions, I feel like there was something unique about this though. Yep, similar. So you will see that this is a common setup, is with the accordions in the different sections. All right, here's the one that went more for a picture look. So they graphically did make these pictures, and it's not like there's a lot of words on them. You put the words in your alt tag, that's fine. So each one of these, it's kind of like the buttons we saw on the one page, is going to click you out to a different page with different links. Printable coupons, take a day off. That's get some extra sleep. Flee at 3. So, you know, you guys have done, if you the workplace campaigns, they get creative. So whether or not you have different features like that, those are cute. Let's see here. Pledge forms and materials. So yeah, they've built these out all with their links, and they went for the more visual button picture look that each page creates a page. So just another take on that. All right. Oh, we looked at these. Let's go on. All right, here's another one. I also thought this header was kind of creative with just using colors and doing the layout with the links. This one has a lot of videos. And it just, I held on to it for the sheer fact that I want to remind everyone, hey, you can embed YouTube videos right on a page, and you can take them and set them up this way. Also, just to remember, when you do set up your YouTube video, you do have the ability to change out thumbnails on the front. I mean, these are fine, but you can always adjust those if you ever want to. You have to do that in YouTube though, because I'll have people ask me like, I don't want it paused there, and be like, yeah, you can adjust that in YouTube. So okay, those were my campaign toolkit pages. We're going to do some stuff on our demo site in a second. Now I'm going to do some kickoff event pages for you, just samples of what some of our customers have set up. So here's a campaign kickoff coming up that is a Renaissance Carnival. Isn't that cool? But this is using our Stripe forms. So just as a reminder, if you haven't started using the Stripe embedded web forms, it is a neat option where they can buy their tickets right here. It's on the same page. I don't have to go to another tool. It's all together. So they got individual tickets, they got tables, and a person can put their credit card in, purchase it right from the page. So just throwing those out there. See, my tabs keep going. United Way of Onslow County is where Christina and I both have worked back in the day. They are doing a Kick It Off kickball tournament. There is no charge for this. So they have their information here. They did do a lot of background colors behind the different sections to have their content pop, which I thought looked nice. And then here's their team sign up for kickball to kick it off. That's clever. And then they can submit it here, download the rules, click that they've read the rules, that sort of thing, but there's no payment on it. And they got the screen with the kickball. All right. Campaign breakfast. Also a nice header from the standpoint of sometimes, it's really hard to find that elongated picture across the top. What if you have 3 like taller pictures that are a nice representation, and you do something like this so that when it does go to a smaller device, the middle picture would be the only picture we see, but it still looks good, and it still works well in it. So just something to think about on the header images. This is a breakfast kickoff. They do have their sponsorship level information here right on the page. Now, they have two options here. You can pay by check or you can pay by credit card with their credit card form below. So again, being able to put in the number of tickets that someone wants and pay right here on the page. If someone would prefer to pay by check, they would go out using the link buttons to a check payment page. Okay, this is going to be, hang on, it's a rotor, I'm pretty sure. I need to rotate. Oh, here we go. That was it. I didn't find a lot of rotors, but I did see this one and it caught my attention as a campaign kickoff rotor. Just a great picture that works well in the space with the information, and then they click it and it goes to their registration. So that is scheduled to turn off, I think, on September 18th. Don't forget you have that scheduler option with your rotors. So if you do decide to do something like that, and you can always stop the rotors. Sometimes if you know everyone's going to my site right now, everyone's going about the golf tournament, everyone's going about this, maybe you stop the rotor for a short period of time. You unpublish those, you have them republished on the 18th, so you get some of that other information back. But don't forget that you can always isolate it to one if that's what makes sense in the moment. So think about that. All right. We're going to pledge cards now. This is workplace portal page. There's a lot of varieties on this. Now, this United Way wanted one landing page with the logos of all the organizations who are participating in their campaign, and it's beautiful. It looks great, and it each goes to their personalized campaign page. Why did they do this? They didn't do it for the individual employers, not exactly. They did it for the community at large to see who's participating, and for the employers who aren't participating to go, I want to be on this page, right? So it does give a nice visual representation. You could always just have the list of names, but this is just, it's got that visual side to it. So City of Rockford, I think I have theirs open right now. And their URL is just COR, City of Rockford. It's a nice shortened. All of their pages look basically the same. They have some links, they have some information about the campaign, and then they have their pledge card. So each pledge card is personalized for that employer. In the case of City of Rockford, they need to know that their employer said, we need to know what department they're with. So you have the list and you can build it in specifically for them. Any questions that an employer would need, like they're like, I have to have an ID number. I have to have a department. I have to have this. Then you're going to see that stuff. You can build it right into them. You know, regardless, whatever questions are important to you, you can build out the pledge card to work in a way that works for you. So payroll deductions, you know, usually you'll scale these down to only the ones that employer offers. Maybe they offer all of them. Biggest challenge is when employees don't know how many pay periods they got, which is surprising, right? How could you not know that? Totals this out, allows them to make an investment in the community, designate to certain 501c3s if they want, with instructions on what to do. So this one's really been built out. So you saw that landing page with all of those pledge cards. This has been cloned for each one of those pledge cards and then tweaked, or for each one of those employers and then tweaked for each one of those employers. And each employer has their own landing page with their own information. This is the same URL year after year. I think this is maybe year 3, I believe, for this pledge card, maybe 2. This employer has been, this United Way has been doing this for their employers. So the employers go back to the same one. You don't need a different page every year. You can use the same page. You don't even need a different pledge card every year, unless your pledge card has had major changes. If you've had major changes, then you might set up a new one. But there is no need to go out to your pledge cards and go, okay, 2023, and set it up, because you can pull reports by date range. So. All right. I feel like I'm just rambling. I'm so used to more banter, Jordan.
No, I think everybody's just taking in all the examples. There haven't been too many questions, but again, these are such great examples of good visuals, different ways to set up pages. It's nice to sometimes not totally have to recreate the wheel when you're thinking about your own pages. You can get a little inspiration here. So hopefully that's what everybody is taking away right now as well.
Yeah, I hope so. All right. Here is United Way of Davidson County, and they have a bunch of workplace campaign pages, and I think Christy's on this. They've been doing this for quite a few years, and I see she set it up for 2023. Hey, Christy, I even watched some of this video. That's her back there. Very cute. So they personalize each of their pages for their organizations. They put the organization logo on their page, and then based on what that organization needs, it might ask certain questions like, here again, you got your schools. So they got to pick which school they're with. They do a cash giveaway, which is kind of cool. If they give a certain amount, then they're going to qualify for being in some kind of drawing. They have to agree to do that. Also, always interesting to see some of the specialized questions that folks ask. Like, I plan to retire this year. Because we know with workplace campaigns, when someone retires or they leave a job, you kind of lose them until, like, they don't just necessarily reach out to you. They might, but they might not too. So you want to make sure you have some good questions to keep that connection going. So this is a cool page. She's been doing this a while, and they've got quite a few of them. Nice header image. I think she's using that same header image on all workplace pages. All right, here's another one. This is a university. So this is Oklahoma State University's campaign page, campaign headquarters. This is the same group that we saw earlier with the buttons. This is Payne County again. Really nice job with these campaign pages. Great picture on the top of the organization. I had one United Way who had, you know, the yard signs that say like Live United on it, like it was a black yard sign that said Live United back in the day. They went to all the businesses and they stuck one in the yard in front of them and took pictures and used that as their header picture on every page for each organization. So a picture of that organization with their Live United sign, something like that, creative. But this, I love that header image. It looks really good for this page. And again, they have several links. This is a big campaign for this United Way. So they have additional toolkit, events, how to give us your money. That's always a good thing. Here's their campaign chairs with their pictures and the information about that. They have a couple of different donate. Now this is, so a number of you were on here saying like, hey, we use a third-party tool. This would be a great example of like, link it to your third-party vendor tool for your pledge card if you need to, if you have things running that way. Plan fundraisers. Again, just a well laid out page that's very specific for an employer, and it's always this page. So they continue to have additional pages and different screenshots of the university. It's great. Event ideas, in-person events, virtual events, links, etc. You know, we got good with the virtual events in the COVID years. They're still a thing, and sometimes, you know, that's the best way for some. And we got more remote working employees than we ever had before on a regular basis. So thinking those ideas through as well is just clever. So great job, everyone. I love looking at these. All right, here we go. Liberty Bank, this is Middlesex United Way. I liked their graphic up at the top. And I do know they had a couple of interesting things that their employer needed, like the 5-digit employee number. They need work locations with codes. That stuff can all be added in by employer if you need to. But this was really kind of curious. You could pick more than one. Like, I'm going to make a monetary donation, which added in the monetary questions, but I also want to volunteer, or I want to do some different activity things. They gave some options. This is another common question that I'll get on pledge cards. If you do any kind of fair share, like an hour pay a month or whatever you might have as your choices, 1% of salary, those kind of things, those options. building that in, it might mess with your calculation a little bit. They need to know like how much they pay, how much they're paid. So sometimes we skip the totals on those. So there's options with that. This one has really a lot of choices. If you're getting into this really, really advanced heavy duty pledge card scenario, you're going to want to book with your account manager and let us help you through how to kind of pull that together. A lot of them do have the signatures, which is great, so that you have that signature for payroll deduction, because employers will want to have that generated as a PDF, so you have that PDF copy as well. And when people submit, you can set this to submit to the employer. They can get a copy if they want. Sometimes they're like, don't copy me on all those, just give me the report at the end. That's fine. Some of them might want to actually log in and see the data. That's something that can be done as well. And I do think Christy Davidson did some of that. I believe their school logs in and gets their report. But let's just say if transportation's clicked, then a certain person needs a copy of it. It would be really rough to do for each one of them. But there is options in your forms, and I know we're doing the advanced web forms next month, so we'll go into more detail on some of the stuff. But anytime a question is answered, it could be like, if that is selected, this person gets a copy of it. That's selected, this person gets a copy of it. So do know there's a lot of options on that auto reply notification. Okay. Let's see, next one. Another workplace campaign. Okay, these guys, love them. It depends on what you decide to do for designations. So we know, I hear it all the time in the United Way world, we're not doing designations anymore. But then others are like, yeah, whatever they want to do, we'll do it. So it depends on what your organization has decided. So check this one out. So if they say, well, I'm going to give to a very specific partner agency, and that agency is clicked, it's going to be asked, how much do you want to give? So they can give to as many different agencies as they want, and they are to provide the amount from their total that's going to each agency. I'm showing this as an option that can be done. God bless your accounting team who has to deal with this, but it's certainly an option that can be done. So again, it's just educating all of you on the configuration options you have, because you have so many configuration options. So we can set these up so that, yeah, they can, when they pick an organization, how much do they want to go to it? All right. All right, this one, this is a great sample because it's not actually our form. It is our customer. They used a third-party web form for this. And based on this and on some things I've seen other folks do, I created something somewhat similar. So this is an order form. So check this out. How many coordinator guides do you want? Or you can click here and download it. How many checklists? How many pledge forms? How many pledge forms in Spanish? How many report forms? Impact forms? So this is an order form, right? And I don't see too many of our customers doing this through their website, but you can. I gave stickers, casual day stickers, get a pay $5 and wear jeans, casual day, that kind of thing. Giveaways, games, whatever you might want to do, you could set up an order form for something like this. So this was, even though they used the third-party tool for it, which is fine, I did want to make sure you guys all knew you can do something like this with your website as well. So I did create one, and this is free. This is for you guys. We'll put this link out. This will be called the campaign planning form. Write that down. Go ahead and write that down. If at the end of this webinar you want to put in a support ticket and request a clone of this form, our team will drop it on your site for you. This is what it looks like. It would be one that you could send to your campaign coordinators, company, campaign coordinator's name, their email, their phone number, their address. Have you conducted a campaign before? Now these could be conditionals. You could add to this form. You can do more with it. How many employees do you have? Maybe you want to ask how many part-time, how many full-time, any notes they might give you. What are their planned dates of their campaign from this day to this day? When is their kickoff? Do you want an online pledge card? How many pay period options do you have? Any required fields for HR? And then here's order materials. How many pledge cards? How many brochures? How many posters? How many table tents? How many thermometers? How many pens? How many balloons? How many yard signs? Or whatever materials it is that you have in your repertoire of materials that you want to hand out that you let people fill out. So I'm curious though, as I've been showing all these and you guys are looking at it, I know so many of you are thinking, oh, I do something like that, or I have something similar. If you have any samples that of any of this kind of stuff that you're like, wow, Allison really needs to see this. Everyone should see what I've done because what I've done is pretty cool. Go ahead and put it in our question and answer so we can share with others what you guys are doing. Because I know many of you on this call are like my advanced go-getters who have done a lot of the stuff already. So we love samples. I'm really curious if there are other forms like this because I had a hard time finding these. I was looking for samples of workplace material order forms and that kind of stuff, and I didn't find a whole bunch of them. But I'm sure they're out there. But you know, 359 ways sometimes it's a little hard to find them. All right, and I'm going to transition into building and showing you how to do pledge cards, that kind of thing. But let me pause for a second. Jordan, how are we doing?
We are doing good. There's lots of excitement over this form. I think the one thing that I'm sure you'll get to here now that we're going to dive into the demo was just showing maybe how to pull the report by date so that if we want to keep the same year or the same form, you know, not putting that year on there, how do you then reuse that year after year? How do you kind of filter by those date options?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, keep your work down. You don't have to keep reinventing things or build them every year. You'll see after a while, like your web forms this year and then this year and this year. You really don't need to do that unless the form majorly changes would be my comment. So now I am in my demo site. It's Papago Demos, my demo site, and I am logged in as an admin, same level that everyone else has. So I did create a workplace page. And I'm not going to sit here and build this because you guys mostly know how to do this stuff, but I will show you some of the ideas I took away from everyone. I like the color overlay, and this is the theme we're using here. Papago does have that white text, so I feel like that works well for this particular header image. I didn't really come across many carousels, so I threw a carousel on here just as a friendly reminder that this is the feature that we have where you can have sliding text, it can be sliding pictures, whatever you want in what's called a carousel format. This is rotating every 7 seconds. I just put 2 sets of little phrases in there, just, you know, just to give that movement and that visual. I do like the general styling that we saw on quite a few of these where you'd have like a page with links to things and then the video. Christy, I took your video and stuck it on my page because I was like, oh, look at that. That's why I said I watched it. So I also like using the background colors in my styling and my layout. So again, this is my ABC company. So they're /ABC. And here's their pledge card. So we'll look at their pledge card in more detail, but I just added it to the bottom of their page. They have their options for payroll deductions, what fund they want to give to, and then, you know, whatever questions I might want to ask, sign it and submit it. Yeah, so let's look at the pledge card because the pledge card is definitely, oh, that's the wonderful point. Let's look at this pledge card. I will go to the build of it. This pledge card is set up to allow them to say payroll, check, cash, bill me, or credit card. And here's where it gets a little tricky is that credit card piece. Because I can't put the Stripe processor on this actual form, unfortunately. And the reason for that is it can't be hidden. A Stripe processor, once on a page, must get a credit card number and must process. But if they pick payroll deduction, I don't need it. And therefore, it's got to be isolated in its own secured environment for processing. So when they click credit card, they are going to be processed on a payment page. And that payment page does look a little different. It's very simple. It's a simple credit card page where they just need to put in their name again and the dollar amount that they want to give. It does give you the option to go ahead and ask if they want to cover processing fees. So this is using a Stripe payment form. You could kick it out to pay on Civi CRM. You could kick it out to pay on a third-party tool like PayPal or something else. But you are going to need to separate the credit card processing on the pledge part of the system. And we can help you with that. There's configurations that go into this. So if you have not set this up, if you're one of that 41% who said, I don't have online pledge cards, and you're watching this thinking, yeah, this is what I want to do, you need to book a meeting with your campaign or with your project man or account manager, whoever, one of us, and we'll help you. We'll help you get it set up, because we don't expect you just to figure this out. But once you kind of get the process down and get it going and you clone it for your other ones, you're going to be just fine. The original setup, you probably want some assistance with this. So just to note that this system does allow them to do multiple payment options. This is a real advanced setup. We're going to do more of this in the advanced web form training next month. But basically what happens is if I pick payroll deduction, I am going to go to a very specific thank you page for payroll. Actually, let me just hit submit. It's going to send it to me. So payroll is going to have its own thank you page. So you're going to get to build out special pages for folks who said they want to do payroll, and a special page for folks who say they're going to give cash. Like, give them instruction. You need to provide it to your campaign coordinator by 24 hours or whatever you might want to say. You could have pictures, you can have video, you can have a whole message to folks as they depart your form and they go to whichever page based on whatever answer to the question that they give. So again, this is an advanced feature. If you're needing to know how to do this, why don't you book up with us? We'll show you how that gets set up, because that is it's just more advanced. So I don't want to dig into that right now. I was thinking I might, but I think it's a lot, and we're throwing a lot at you with a lot of information. I do want to get to the results part of it though. So that question is a great question here. So once you have your pledge cards together, so just as a reminder, these are web forms. And remember, I took that web form and I put it on the ABC page, but it's a separate form. It's pledge-ABC that I placed onto the ABC page, right? So the form is separated. It gets added as a component to the page. How do I get to the results on this form? A couple of different ways. One, when you're logged in, you'll have a pencil that takes you to results. I get an email maybe once a week that a person will go to the top here and click results and go, there aren't any. That's because that's the results of the page. I don't know why it says results there. You need the results to the form. So do make sure that you go to the form itself and click results to get your results. That will trick you every time. It's tricked me before, and I'll be like, what happened? But they're there, I promise you. The other way to get your results is just to go to the web form area. So web forms are found under structure, web forms. When you click web forms, you will see your list of forms. And I do recommend, as you start doing pledge cards, that you, because you're going to start to get so many forms, you title them all pledge card. So I'll usually have one that's like pledge card dash template or a pledge card for cloning. And then I keep cloning this one, duplicate, and then I name it pledge card ABC employer, so that I have ones per organization. You do need to clone it. You don't have to. You can have all the organizations come in together, but it makes your reporting a little bit more challenging. This is where I do recommend that you have a separate pledge card per employer. Why? That way you can customize it for that employer. They need department names. They have a certain question they need answered, whatever. And you can set it up so that the report is isolated. So here, when you're in this page, when you're at the structure web forms and you're on this list of pages, your results column will show you where you got results at. So that ABC employer form, if I click 8, and I just entered a bunch of blank ones, so they'll be looking kind of interesting, you'll see all the forms that are out there, right? So when I want to pull a report, so here's the ones from 2022 when I use the same one. And here's the ones from this year. Don't have anything on them, but when I want to pull my download, I will come up to the top and I will click download. All our web forms, same thing. Go to the results, click download. You always have the option on here to pick which fields you want. And there's a lot of web form fields that you may not really care about. So let's just jump down to the ones that I care about. I want the name, the contact, the preferred. Of course, this one doesn't have about anything in it anyway, but that's okay. I'm just gonna pick this stuff. And I might not want the link to the hyperlink to the PDF. Here's what we do. Limited to create a date. That's how you pull the date range. You just grab your calendar and you can pick it. And then say download, and then you'll have that report by date range. There's no need to change that out. Now, there is a message in our system that will say, hey, you filled this out before. You can turn that message off because you don't want people coming to the pledge card like year 2 and it's saying, you've already done this form. Yeah, they've already done this form. We know that, but that's okay. We don't want to give them any hesitation. So there is settings in here that you might go and turn off that notification that says that they've filled it out before. So we can help you with that. It's under submissions. Show notification about previous submission. Let's not. Let's let them do it as many times as they want. We're not even gonna tell them they've done it already. Maybe they'll forget and they'll do it a couple times too. The campaign. I'm not gonna worry about that. They need to know. So yeah, I would uncheck that if you're using it year after year. So that is a tip on that one. All right. Wow. I've been talking a long time. Jordan, help me out here. How are we doing?
Yeah, I think good. Hopefully, there's not too many questions. We've been answering the ones that have been coming in. So if you've got any questions, now is the time to put it in the chat. We can take a closer look at any of the examples that Allison had shared or more of the settings within the back end of those pledge cards if you guys have more questions.
Yep. And I have a few more things and then we'll be wrapping it up. I already mentioned to you, and it sounded like people were pretty excited about the campaign planning form that you can request from our team. Let me tell you about 2 other forms that we have available for you. The pledge card for cloning, we do have this available. Now I'm going to warn you, there's all these instructions at the top of this. That's because once we clone it to your site, you're going to have to set up those separate thank you pages for a payroll page, a thank you page for check and cash. We need to know where the credit card's going to, whether it's the Stripe form or the other form. So that's something that you're actually going to have to help do. We're going to need to reset conditionals and do a few things. It does muck it up a bit when we copy it over because it's got all the demo site stuff, which isn't valid on your site. So it's all got to get changed. So if you're going to clone, have us clone our stock pledge card for the first time and you're looking at it, I really encourage you to book a meeting with your account manager so we can help you through that process and just double check everything and make sure it works well. You want to get this pledge card exactly the way you want it with the kind of questions you need as a standard and all that before you start cloning it per employer. Because once you start cloning it per employer and you go, oh, I need to add this question, you're going to have to do it on every card. So you really want to get your templated pledge card exactly the way that works for you before you start using it within other organizations, or other cards. The other form that you can request, now this is really going to be specifically if you've already got the Stripe processor set up for your web forms. If we've already done that, if we've gone through that process and you've got that Stripe feature where you're able to add this right here, then we're good for this form. This is the simple credit card, pledge card, credit card payment. It's the credit card payment form that we would then link to that pledge card. So there are 3 forms we have available for you if you would like them, and those will go to support that. I have that on my slide. Let me go to my slide. Unless there's any other questions, Jordan, I'm gonna start transitioning out.
Yep, that sounds good. I don't see any others that come through, but email us if you think of it later on.
Okay. So we will get this recording posted. We post them all under webinars on our support site. So don't forget, you can go out there and just keep watching this over and over again. Here are the cards that are the web forms we have available for you. So if you put in a support ticket, support.oneeach.com, these are the 3 that we've presented that you can request. The campaign planning form, of course, you can take them and tweak them and do what you want with them. So that's cool. The pledge card and the credit card payment form are all available to be cloned to your site for free. Just put in a request to our team and give us 24 hours. If you are a first-time user on those pledge cards or any of this stuff, please book with your account manager. Hopefully everyone on this call knows who their account manager is. I'm Allison. We got Christina and Chrissy both on as well. One of us should be your account manager. And if you're not sure, go ahead and put in the chat right in the question and answer right now. Let us know if you don't know who your account manager is, because we will turn around and reach out to you then. So if you're just really not sure, just let us know. And then here's our upcoming schedule. So we're sticking with this 3rd Thursday of the month webinar routine. Our next one is September 21st on advanced web forms. That will go into a lot more detail on the forms. There's so much they can do. October 19th, we've got Jeremy joining us. He is so amazing. We're going to go into that whole Google thing, right? Google Analytics, Google AdWords. How does that work if you just choose to do something like that? So yeah, definitely want to check that one out. That is going to be really, really interesting. November 16th, we'll be getting that end of year run going. It'll be close to Giving Tuesday, end of year online campaigns, suggestions, ideas for that. And then December 21st, wow, really end of year. Goals for 2024. We did something similar last year, and I got to tell you, it was like really one of my favorite webinars because I felt like we went through so many cool things that to think about as you plan for the next year. So those are our lineup through the end of the year. I promise not to be the solo presenter ever again because it's exhausting now. I love doing it. But it's more fun to hear in voice. All right, so we're wrapping up. Questions? I even ended early. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 4 minutes to spare.
Nice. All right. I thank you all so much for attending, and have a great campaign season, folks. Let us know how we can help.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining.
Thank you.